You think you're making conscious decisions, right? But neuroscience tells a totally different story. Your brain actually starts deciding what it's going to do up to 7 seconds before you're even aware of it. It's been shown that our brains exhibit measurable electrical activity, known as the readiness potential, long before we experience the sensation of making a choice. This challenges everything we believe about free will. So, that feeling in your gut or that mental tug of war you find yourself in, it's your brain running on old programs, consisting of habits, memories, or emotions, and not from the conscious choices you think you're making. All along, we've been trying to teach the conscious mind when the real decisions are happening in the unconscious realm, milliseconds before your awareness even kicks in. But if we understand how our unconscious mind works, we can learn to work with it instead of against it. We can redesign our environments, reshape our habits, and rewire our automatic responses in ways that align with our conscious goals. So the question isn't whether you have free will, it's whether you can become the developer of your own unconscious programming. Hey friend, I'm Christy, a board certified nurse practitioner, health coach, and trauma survivor. Welcome to Trauma Free, where I help you change your mind and change your life just like I did. So let's get into it. I want you to forget everything you think you know about decision making because your brain is making choices based on several factors you're probably not even aware of. See, your brain has three key players: the amygdala or the fear system that reacts instantly to potential threats, focuses only on survival, and doesn't care about long term goals, and shuts down when you're stressed or tired. Your dopamine network, or the reward system, seeks immediate pleasure and comfort, gets stronger with repeated habits, whether they're good or bad, and weakens your self control when overused. Then there's the prefrontal cortex, or the decision maker, that handles logic, planning, and self control. It works slower than the other two systems and gets overwhelmed when stressed or tired. So, what this means for you is when you're stressed, your fear system takes over. When you're tired, your reward system drives your choices. And your decision maker needs calm conditions for it to work best. People spend about 12% of their waking hours thinking about the future. But to do this, we use past experiences to envision it. Your hippocampus, which is your memory center, and your prefrontal cortex, responsible for future planning, are both connected by the default mode network. So your brain can't help but to filter every future decision through its past. So that gut feeling telling you not to take the risk, it might not be your intuition. It could be your 8-year-old self influencing your adult decisions. Your brain is basically a gambling addict, but instead of betting at casinos, it's betting on your reality. Research shows that your brain doesn't wait for information to come in. It's constantly generating predictions and then checking to see if it was right. Think of it this way: your brain is like an algorithm, but for your entire life. It uses your memory as your viewing history to choose the safest option, to avoid confrontation. In fact, studies using functional MRI technology have shown that up to 90% of your brain's energy is spent on predicting and not reacting. So you're literally living in a world your brain has made up based on educated guesses. Let me ask you this: have you ever walked into a room and knew something felt off? Well, that's your brain predicting and detecting tiny inconsistencies before your conscious mind catches up. Your brain gets addicted to being right about its ability to foresee the outcome of situations. So it creates circumstances that confirm what it already believes, which is called confirmation bias. And check this out: research shows that emotions aren't reactions, they're also predictions. So that anxiety you feel before a presentation, that's your brain betting you'll fail based on a moment from your past. But once you understand this, you can start placing different winning bets. You think you're the one making your choices, but you're actually not. It's been shown that the way options are presented changes what we choose, even when we know we're being influenced. We also unconsciously mimic the choices of people around us. And even crazier, we mimic the choices of people we imagine are around us. Because in today's culture, social media has created phantom peer pressure from people who aren't even in our real lives. Most of your decisions aren't really choices, they're reactions to environmental cues that you're not even consciously aware of. But once you see the code, you can rewrite it. When you start observing your decision making process, instead of just experiencing it, you can activate your brain's executive network within just 8 weeks. So before making any decisions, ask yourself, what is my brain betting will happen? And what past experience is it using to place this bet? This simple question activates your prefrontal cortex and interrupts automatic programming. MIT research shows that changing your physical environment changes your choices faster than willpower ever could. So if you want to eat better, don't try to resist cookies. Stop buying them. People who can vividly imagine their future selves make dramatically different choices in the present because your brain needs a clear image to bet on a different outcome. So you don't need to control your thoughts. You need to design a supportive system that creates them. The most effective way to change behavior isn't through force, it's through curiosity. Because when you get curious about the patterns you have, instead of fighting them, your brain will start to naturally update its programming. If you've ever wondered why making a choice feels so difficult, or why you keep making decisions that even surprise you, we're about to expose the lesser known reasons affecting your brain's choices without your knowledge. So, this is how your brain really makes decisions. First, you have the instant reaction stage. Your brain's emotional center or limbic system responds immediately to situations, like seeing tempting food or getting a stressful message. This reaction happens automatically before you're even aware of it. Then you have the justification stage, which is your thinking brain or the prefrontal cortex, which quickly creates logical sounding reasons for what you're about to do. Research shows this happens incredibly fast, in about zero point 0.2 seconds. Think of that moment when you get upset, and right before you say to yourself, I'm about to crash out. So you're not actually deciding, you're really making excuses for an impulse. Lastly, the awareness stage, where you become conscious of the decision with what feels like clear reasoning, but in reality, your brain made the choice subconsciously first, then made it appear like it was a rational decision. This process happens constantly throughout your day. Emotional reactions drive most choices. Logical explanations come after the fact, and the entire process takes less than a second. Understanding this helps you recognize where you're acting on impulse rather than intention, making excuses for unhealthy choices or believing you're in control when you're really not. But the good thing is, you can train yourself to pause between the impulse and the action, giving your rational brain more influence over your decisions. Researchers have tried to figure out why we do what we do, and they discovered when people are asked to explain why they made a choice, they consistently gave reasons that had nothing to do with their actual decision making process. You know what's even crazier? Most of the choices you think you're making every day aren't actually choices at all. They're really phantom choices. Decisions that were made years ago, usually before you were 12 years old. But your brain keeps replaying those options over and over. Your brain keeps a secret database of pre-approved responses to life situations because 43% of daily behaviors are performed almost automatically in the same context. So, what you're doing isn't just habits, they're decisions that have got locked in during significant emotional events. Imagine this: you're 8 years old, you ask for something sweet, and your mom makes you feel bad. So, your brain correlates wanting things with leading to judgment. Fast forward 20 years later, where you equate your desires with feelings of shame. In fact, research on predictive processing shows that your brain creates relationship templates based on earlier experiences, then applies them to every new person you meet. So you think you're choosing how to respond to your boss, but you're actually running your authority figure protocol in your mind that was programmed from years earlier. This is how your brain really makes decisions based on how you feel. Emotional predictions come first before you're even aware of making a choice. Your brain automatically forecasts how different options will make you feel. These predictions are based on past emotional experiences, not current reality. And there are three key influences on decisions that your brain uses to predict outcomes: fear of negative emotions like rejection or failure, desire for approval from others, and preference for familiar and comfortable options. These emotional forecasts are often wrong because they rely on outdated experiences like childhood memories. They overestimate how long emotions will last and they ignore your ability to handle new situations. So, understanding this process helps you recognize when fear is stopping you from trying something new and when you're making choices just to please others or staying in your comfort zone. Your brain tries to protect you from emotional pain, but sometimes this protection holds you back from growth. So, by becoming aware of this process, you can make more balanced decisions. What if I told you that every choice you make today has been secretly orchestrated by someone else? Because your environment is basically a giant manipulation scheme designed to influence your decision making process. Your decisions aren't as free as you think. Companies study how people make choices and design systems to guide your selections. This happens in stores, apps, and in websites every day. Common tricks used to influence you are through online shopping with one click buttons to remove time to think, social media with algorithms that show content likely to keep you scrolling, stores that place products where you'll notice them most, sales tactics that use limited time offers to create a false sense of urgency, and peer pressure to showcase how many others bought this as messages to sway your purchases. Your brain has natural tendencies that these tricks exploit, which causes people to act quickly when things seem scarce. So we follow what others are doing or choose what's easiest or most visible. But the more you respond to these tricks, the more automatic your responses become. And over time, you train yourself to make faster, less thoughtful decisions, value what's popular over what you truly want, and seek instant rewards over long term benefits. Many of your daily choices are guided by designs meant to influence you, but becoming aware of this helps you make more intentional decisions. Your brain has a defect because it confuses familiar with true and frequent with important. This is called the availability cascade. The more you hear something, the more real it feels. Take this into account. It's been shown that people overestimate the likelihood of plane crashes and underestimate car accidents because plane crashes get more media coverage. This is why you might avoid taking that trip, starting that business, or having that conversation. Not because it's actually dangerous, but because your brain has been fed a surplus of worst case scenarios. So your brain thinks it's protecting you, but it's actually imprisoning you because most of your fears aren't predictions. They're actually just trauma projections. Here's something that will mess with your head. Your memories aren't facts. They're stories that your brain rewrites every single time you remember them. Research on memory reconsolidation revealed that memories become unstable every time you recall them. Your brain doesn't just replay the past, it re edits it. It's like opening a Word document, making changes, and saving over the original file every time you think back to a memory. That's why after the fact, you might end up saying, I always knew that that wouldn't work. After a breakup, we've been brainwashed to believe there's one perfect choice, one soulmate, or one dream job. But neuroscience tells a different story. Chasing perfection is a cognitive trap. Research has shown that satisfiers, people who choose options that meet their criteria rather than exhaust all possibilities, are happier and more confident and less prone to regret than maximizers who obsess over finding the absolute best. So once you see the matrix of influence, you can't unsee it. And once you can't unsee it, you can start directing your own decisions in your movie instead of just acting in someone else's script. So use these steps to make sure you're consciously selecting. Step 1. Next time, before you make a significant choice, pause and ask yourself, who's bidding on this decision? Is it your fear center trying to keep you safe, or your comfort system wanting a familiar outcome? Because simple awareness practices activate the anterior cingulate cortex to interrupt automatic unconscious decision making. Step 2. When you catch yourself creating logical reasons for a decision, dig deeper and ask yourself, what was my real first impulse? Often, the authentic choice appears in the first zero point 0.3 seconds before your brain can start second guessing. Step 3. Identify your phantom choices, which are those automatic responses that were programmed in childhood, because research on neuroplasticity shows that you can literally rewire these pathways by consciously choosing different responses. Step 4. Design your environment to make good choices easier for you than making bad ones. Don't rely on willpower. Rely on intelligent choices that work for you instead of against you. Step 5. Before major decisions, do an emotional impact assessment. What is this choice really trying to give me emotionally? Ask yourself, can I get that need met in a healthier way? Step 6. The most powerful choice isn't what to choose, it's choosing how to choose. So develop your own decision making protocols instead of letting your unconscious run the show. Because research shows that people who develop conscious decision making systems report 40% higher life satisfaction and 60% less decision related stress. You'll never have complete control over your choices. There will always be unconscious influences, environmental pressures, and emotional trading happening beneath your awareness. But you can become the director instead of just the actor. Your brain will always have competing interests, hidden influences, and unconscious programming. But now that you understand that your choices are about having conscious participation to support your most ideal outcomes, the question isn't whether you're being influenced. You will always be. The question is, are you ready to become an active participant in designing the influences that shape you? Because you are not your thoughts. You are just the observer. And when you understand how your brain really works, you can make it work for you. So drop a comment and let me know what's one decision that you've been overthinking. And if your brain needed this reminder, like, subscribe, and until next time, stay trauma free and take care.